kids. It's time to get some SML podcast all up in that.
What's up, everybody? This is the SML Podcast. I'm your host, Joe. Joining as usual, Cole. How are you doing?
I mean, I didn't die between the last recording and this one, so I got some fun.
That's a positive.
Yeah, well, depending on who you are and how you look at things.
Well, as your co-host, it's a positive.
Okay.
So how was your week?
Pretty mundane. Isn't that awful? Like literally nothing exciting happened.
Usually you're the one with all the stories.
I know. Like, my kid come home today and she's like, how was your day? And I'm like, oh, like every day this week I've been like, look, I sat here all day. I did the same shit I do every day, which was barely anything. And I just, there's nothing super exciting or, oh, root beer is my jam. That's a good point. We should save the reading for Where the Wild Things Are for Patreon. Speaking of Patreon,
I actually made one.
Give us your $1.
So yeah, when I say check out our Patreon at patreon.com/the SML now you actually can check out our Patreon at patreon.com/the SML. As we discussed on the show, this is basically just going to be for clips and snippets that would otherwise not be in the show. Like, we have a 22-minute clip up now of all of the fun stuff that happened during the recording of the show before the actual show for 5/17. So all of the in-jokes that we made that no one understood, you could listen to this and get everything.
For $1.
For $1.
It's
or more.
Literally the best dollar you will spend ever. Or more dollars, depending on how many. I mean, like, how many things can you really get for $1 that are decent?
True.
Okay. See? Best dollar ever.
Best dollar ever. The SML Podcast.
Single $1.
Best $1 ever.
The SML Dollar Cast. You could get us at the Dollar Tree. At everything is $1.
Oh, Lord.
Are those stores you guys have up there?
We have Dollar Tree.
Dollar Tree.
We have Dollar Tree, Dollar General, Family Dollar.
No times the Taco Bell tacos, but you have to pay tax on those.
Yeah, there's no tax on our Patreon.
Nope.
But there is a 20-minute clip of Purnell going absolutely crazy with his, like, he just went on with that. That was amazing.
It was so good. It was worth it. It's really, really good.
So
we need more of that kind of, like, you need to bring your friends back to fill in for the fact that I'm a shitty co-host.
No, I got to bring them to make up for the fact that I'm a shitty host.
Why did we ever think we could do this show together?
I don't know, because I've been doing it for how long before you came on? By then, it's just routine. I don't know what else to do with my life.
Oh, yeah. Like, I can't imagine what a Thursday night without recording would be anymore.
Well, you'll find out again during MagFest.
Oh, yeah.
Remember when we took 2 weeks off? That was amazing.
Yeah. It was. And, like, I got punked, though, because I was supposed to not have any reviews after Christmas. And then I still ended up with one and had to come back after we were all like, oh, Cole's not going to be here for 2 weeks. And it was like, no, never mind. Here my bitch ass is.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's very surreal. Can I take off October for Inktober?
I would need a little more notice.
Oh. Well, shit.
I already had someone quit on like 2 days' notice. I don't want to have that again.
Yeah, let's not do that. Fine.
I'm going to have a 2 week in advance notice. Doctor's excuse will be required.
Man, I will have doctor's excuses for October. I have so many doctor's appointments coming up from my broke ass.
Oh, geez.
I have 4 written down for October, like literally 1 a week. Ugh.
Oh, it's a party.
Fuck.
Speaking of doctors, we took Pickle to go get his nuts chopped today, so that was fun.
Was it Dale went too? Or was it Chip? Chip.
Yeah,
Chip
we got Chip. They do something weird that I'm not a fan of. Do you know what ear tipping is?
Yes.
I'm not a fan of that at all.
They took the tip of the ear.
Yeah, they just cut off the tip of the ear to mark that the cat has been spayed or neutered, and
yeah,
I can understand why they do it, but after seeing Chip's ear afterward, like, I'm not a fan of that. Part of me doesn't want to take Dale to get fixed because I don't want to chop her ear.
You could opt for a tattoo with a lot of vets, although it's a little more expensive, but they could do an ear tattoo instead.
No, with these people, strays or ferals are absolutely required to be ear tipped.
Tipped.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't particularly care for it. We didn't do it. I did spaying and neutering when I was in college because I went for veterinary medicine, and we didn't require it. But if rescues brought us in cats, we would tattoo them so that we knew we had done it before.
Yeah.
And around here, a lot of vets, if they will even bother. Most people here, they see a stray, they don't. They take the 10-cent cure. They don't bother catching them and getting them spayed or neutered. Unfortunately.
Yeah, which we're trying to do with the ones that are around our house. We want to get them taken care of so we don't have more kittens showing up.
Right.
Which we still haven't seen the kittens. We don't know what the hell's going on with them.
I would say you'll probably see them in about 3 weeks.
Probably.
Once they become mobile, she won't be able to keep them hid anymore.
Mommy brings them around.
Yeah. And then you'll get your chance to waller them to death. Like, literally nobody doesn't enjoy wallering a kitten.
Yeah. Hopefully they won't be filled with ticks and fleas.
Oh, I'm sure they will. Yeah, I was very adamant. I was like, we got 2 cats. Well, when we got Gabe, I was like, 1 cat. Good. Don't need another cat. Love my cat. My cat's great. Fuck all other cats. And then Rave needed rescue. And I was a little hesitant because Gabe is spoiled as shit. But then we got Raven, and next month will make a year since Raven has been home. And they do fairly well together. But in a week or 2, number 1 is getting a kitten. And I was like, I was in that, I don't want a kitten. I don't want another cat. And fuck, we have 2 cats. Cats are fine. We're good on cats. No cats. And then she sends me this picture, and this little motherfucker doesn't even have his eyes open yet. And he's like curled up in the palm of her hand. And she's like, I'm sorry, I love him. He'll be ready in 5 weeks.
Son of a bitch.
Well, I guess I'm getting a cat.
See, you're turning into me.
Cats are like potato chips.
We just got to get you 6 more of them.
You can't have just one.
That's very true. Oh, man. Well, should we get into the news of the week?
Sure, let's go.
Let's get this show on the road. There's news to talk about. There's games to talk about. I think the big news of the week is PlayStation Plus and Games with Gold were announced for October. Mm-hmm. Which that's always the fun time of year.
Yes.
PlayStation, I think, kicked Xbox's ass this month.
No, really?
Oh, yeah.
Because I know what Xbox is coming out, and well, I don't want to say I'm very excited. I'm moderately excited because it's a strong 3 out of 4. And my cat just knocked something off my desk.
Nice. Well, let's talk about Xbox. From Xbox One, the entire month of October, you get Tembo the Badass Elephant, which, cool game.
Okay. I haven't played it. I remember when it came out. I remember entering giveaways for it, and then that was my extent of what I remember about it.
Well, now you get it free.
Yay.
And then October 16th through November 15th is Friday the 13th, the game.
I am making every motherfucker play this with me.
Which it's interesting to see that one go free. It seems like Dead by Daylight has just completely dominated that game. Maybe that's why it's going free.
Yeah. I expected it in Game Pass more than Games with Gold. But I'm not mad because either way, more people are going to play it.
Yeah. And then Xbox 360 for the 1st through the 15th is Disney's Bolt, which fun kids game.
I'm super excited about Bolt. Bolt was number one's favorite movie when she was little. Like, I'm talking super tiny. And I remember there was a free trial on the 360. And she would literally every day want to play that free trial. And I don't know why, but I just never got around to getting her the full game. And so then I saw that it was going to be on Games with Gold. I was like, I put my stuff down on my desk. I looked at Dee and I was like, number one is going to lose her shit. And so then we were sitting here when she got in from school and I was like, oh, you have to see this. And I played the Games with Gold video. And Bolt popped up and she went, ah! And her hands were in the air. And she was like, it's Bolt! Oh my God, I'm finally going to get to play it.
Nice.
So I was not wrong.
And now someone's excited for Bolt.
Yeah, like probably the only two people on Xbox at all that are like, oh my God, yes, Bolt.
I already played it when I was...
It's an easy completion, isn't it?
Pretty close. I don't think I completed it. I think I got like 800 or something like that. I don't remember.
You can.
But then October 16th through the 31st is Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge.
I remember playing Ninja Gaiden, and I'm looking forward to it. I say I'll play it. I'm looking forward to putting it in my backlog that I'll never touch.
Yeah.
That's a little more accurate.
Yeah, it's not a bad month by any means, but I think PlayStation is just better.
Okay, so tell me what PlayStation's got that makes them so good.
PlayStation for the month of October gets The Last of Us Remastered.
Okay.
And MLB The Show 19. 2 big titles.
Yeah.
I think the show is a big thing, especially because Xbox doesn't have a baseball game.
None?
Well, they have RBI, but those aren't very good.
Ouch.
Yeah.
That was rude. Well.
Yeah, they're not meant to compete with the show. They're more like arcade casual pick up and play games, but they've kind of been going downhill lately. I don't know why.
Super Mega Baseball 2.
True, but that's not an MLB game.
So, it's baseball. You said we ain't got no baseball.
Okay, there's no good quality MLB games. No sim MLB games.
Now you're just being weirdly specific.
Listen, you.
Tell me. If anybody in chat would like to tell me I'm wrong, you can do so on our Patreon for $1.
Maybe I'll even write you a thank you email thanking you for being our patron.
Yeah, fuck you very much.
Did you get an email thanking you? I did.
It was funny.
Glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I don't
want to give that away. Yeah.
Anybody.
People want to read that. They could sign up for $1 and listen to a 20-minute clip of Purnell.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. Speaking of The Last of Us 2 is confirmed for a February 21st release.
Here we go, fucking February again.
Yeah, I know. And not only is it coming out in February, it is confirmed via marketing that it is a 2-disc game. So it's going to be a biggin'. Red Dead is the only 2-disc game so far, I think, and now Last of Us 2.
I wonder what the install size would be then.
I don't know. We'll find out. My guess is like 80-something.
Would you need 2 discs for that?
Yeah. Blu-rays are 50.
Oh. Well, then that explains why, like, Halo and shit, you buy a disc and it just gives you a code.
But yeah, let's see. What other news is there? This is news that is sure to delight you.
I like news that delights me.
That was sarcastic.
Oh, fuck.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare's Spec Ops Survival Mode will be a PS4 exclusive mode for a full year.
Ooh, am I gonna rant?
An entire mode exclusive for a year. That
is some hardcore anti-consumerist bullshit. I see
agree.
Predator. She made things better for a second. Thanks, Predator. But in all reality, so the Twitter ecosphere has been like, I don't know why Xbox is so mad. You could just get a PlayStation and get it on there. First off, fuck you. Not everybody has the money for multiple systems. Secondly, fuck you. Some people have friends on Xbox and want to exclusively play with those friends in Call of Duty. And third off, we're paying the same price and getting less game.
Yes.
That's the big one. As bullshit as the month exclusivity on DLC was. At least
is
you knew
so much worse.
You were getting it in a timely manner.
Yeah.
And you were going to get it before the game's life cycle ended. Call of Duty is an annual game. Like it or lump it, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
It comes out every year. By the time Xbox gets the full game,
the new one will
we're
be
already
out.
going to have been moved on to the next one. That is, if you haven't already pissed everybody the fuck off and they don't want to buy the next one because of your shitty practices.
Yeah, I'm even seeing a lot of PS4 owners who are pissed off about this. Like, this just makes them look bad.
Yes. I mean, I don't look at PlayStation players and be like, it's all your fault. But it's a horrible precedent to set. Oh, you are legitimately going to not have the entire game. And the bigwigs from Infinity Ward, they were like, well, this decision was above our pay grade. That didn't mean you had to take it.
Yeah.
It's your game. Fight it out. You should be the buffer for your community. And you let them down.
Didn't they come out and say that this situation is so much better than it could have been?
Yes.
Which scares the shit out of me. Like, what else could they have done?
In my opinion, if you want to take a guess at what they could have done, they could have completely took all of Special Ops out.
True.
As it is, it's just a survival segment of Special Ops. And their argument is, well, it's 1% of the game. But it's actually really not. I mean, Modern Warfare doesn't have a zombies mode. And there are people who only play for some kind of zombies.
Yeah.
So if they are going to pull those players in to Modern Warfare, and they need this survival mode. That was the whole point of it, was to still appeal to those zombies players who want a survival horde. As far as it being 1% of the game,
I don't believe that at all.
No. And there's usually three modes to a Call of Duty. There'll be the campaign, then there's multiplayer, and then in Treyarch games it's typically zombies. But in Modern Warfare it's traditionally been Spec Ops. So that makes that 33% of the game Spec Ops is. And then you're taking out Spec Ops is going to be broken down between the missions and survival. You're taking that 33% and breaking it in half. That's suddenly very much more than 1%.
Yeah.
That's a good chunk of game to not get. Any chunk to completely knock off and not, like, okay, exclusive weapons, that kind of stuff is ridiculous, but it's fine. There has to be some kind of incentive for PlayStation to cough up for their marketing. But to take off, 15-16% of the game and be like, well, you're on the wrong console, sucks for you.
Yeah, that's bullshit. And the way that they announced it was like, oh, it's an exciting opportunity for our PlayStation players to get an advantage. Right. That's not a fucking advantage. No. That's, again, you could say, oh, well, it's an advantage to play it early.
if it's a few months, it's still bullshit.
Yeah.
But at least it would be out on Xbox before for the game's console cycle to be up.
Yeah, while it was still relevant.
And generally, not to sound like Carnage and bring achievements into everything, but generally the achievement lists are the same on multi-platform games. So whatever's on PlayStation is on Xbox as well, and vice versa. So what if there are achievements for survival mode, and then you can't even play? Sorry, you can't finish this game for a year.
Well, I'm gonna guess there won't be any achievements for it on Xbox. That would be, I don't know. That who knows?
That's when you can't.
At this point, you never know.
You can't. Like, there's no confidence to say, oh, they wouldn't fuck us over like that, because no, they very well might.
Yeah.
They very well could, and there's not anything that stops them from it. And you would think that we would have some kind of antitrust or anti-consumer laws that would prevent. And the games industry is horribly unregulated. Yeah. To a detriment at times. I'm sure people would have my head for that, and I don't care. But sometimes it's detrimental, just how unregulated it is. And exclusivity is one of the things that really highlights that antitrust behavior. And it sucks, and it shouldn't happen. And as much as I have my fingers crossed that we get Call of Duty for review, and then I'm looking forward to playing it, my opinion of it is colored by this whole, hey, you're on Xbox, fuck you. Yeah. And it's something that will be a dark cloud over a game that I was otherwise very excited for.
Yeah, because you're big into the Call of Duties. I've never been a huge fan of the series. I've always had my gripes with, I feel that a lot of things Activision does with Call of Duty is bad for the whole games industry, and not just...
Because they're big enough to set precedents.
Yeah.
And other companies are going to see, regardless of whether you like Call of Duty or not, you have to look at that and go, oh shit, that's a bad road to open up. But
yeah, it's shitty. But what are you gonna do?
Bitch about it on a podcast.
That is what we're gonna do about it. That's the reason we have this show.
Fuck yeah.
Some more news. The never-ending saga of Fallout 76 is it's still going on. Have you heard this?
Oh God, what did they do now?
Remember the power armor helmet?
No.
The big collector edition that they released, the one that the bag was supposed to be for.
Yes.
The helmet itself has been recalled.
Oh, good goddamn, why?
Due to risk of mold exposure. What? There's apparently a cloth something over the mouth, and apparently just because of breathing on it's a risk for collecting mold.
Of moist. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Fuck's sakes.
So GameStop has issued a full recall for it. They are providing refund. Like this.
How did literally nobody think of that? How long has Fallout 76 even been out for? It's more than a year, yeah?
I don't think it's over a year. I think it was earlier this year it came out.
So close to it then, at least.
It's still hilarious, though, that the situation just never ends for them.
Jesus Christ. Can you, did you buy the collector's edition?
No, I didn't. Believe it or not, I did not.
That's a Christmas miracle. Fuck.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. Those collector's editions are not cheap.
No, that was like 180, something crazy like that.
Oh, Mr. Freight says we're missing the fun part.
Where?
It affects 20,000 of them, but only 32 were ever sold.
Oh, that's a joke.
Is that a joke? Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to say, that seems incredibly off balance.
Oh, Jacob, what are you doing? You're confusing my co-host. Don't do that. It's scary.
Yeah. I have a bad habit of reading chat, so.
Forbes says otherwise.
Links or I don't believe it.
32 were sold. Oh, man. The Neo...
31 more than I thought people would buy at GameStop.
True. Well, it was a cool looking helmet. A full-size wearable power armor helmet. It's just...
Oh, wait. Root Beer is My Jam says they probably only sold a few dozen, too. I'm Googling this. Something is Fallout 76. I'd stop and think about what that fucking number was. Mask, recall, mold, GameStop. That's how you do a search, yeah.
Mr. Freight with a link. There's no way that it affects 32 people. That has to be a joke.
They really did make 20,000 of them. That's accurate.
Yeah. Oh, only 32 units of the recalled helmets were actually sold and shipped to consumers, and all those consumers have been identified and notified directly about the recall. It really is over 32 units. What the hell? So the recall is on all 20,000 of them, but the mold issue is only limited to 32 units. Oh my God. He was not lying. Mr. Freight was telling the truth. Well, the recall still affects, there's more than 32 sales. It's just 32 of the affected ones were sold. Wow. Or 32 of them that were sold were affected. It doesn't mean that, no, they only sold 32 that were affected. They didn't only sell 32 power armors.
Yeah. Still, it's still a surprisingly low number. 32 out of 20,000.
Yeah, it affects 32.
So what's in 32. The other ones? Like, are we just going to magically get notified in 2 or 3 weeks or 2 or 3 months that the other ones just spontaneously combust in the middle of the night?
They could. Well, if I know.
We're recalling the other 18 helmets that were sold. Because they spontaneously combust if they get damp after midnight.
Oh, boy. But yeah, I could see it means that the recall affects all 20,000 of them, but the mold issue only affected 30 of them. But they're still recalling all of them just to be careful.
That's nuts. That's absolutely nuts. It just keeps getting worse.
There's no way that they only sold 32 of those things, or else you would see them at GameStop for $25.
I don't know. Well, I mean, if they only sold 32, where are the other 20,000?
Exactly. That's why you would find them at GameStop for $25 if they were that plentiful.
Maybe they pulled an ET and they're actually in Arizona desert.
They could be.
Aren't they releasing a full helmet for the new Doom game? Fucking hope not. At this point,
I think
they need to learn their lessons. They did with Metro Exodus and Shiz 1-1, and like he was playing the game wearing it, and he's like, I'm about to smother to death, and he took it off. He was like, well, that meme didn't play out. And then like a couple weeks later, he's cleaning around it and stuff, and he realizes there's a tag inside that says not for actual use. So there's no air holes in it.
Oh, God.
They gave the rest to influencers. Well, then they would be affected too, though, and so that would still drop the number up past the 32. Fucking influencers.
Oh, man.
Wrong line of work.
Let's see, what other news? It's been reported that Digital Brothers, the parent company of 505 Games, received a payment of €9.49 million from the Epic Games Store related to Control. 55% of that payment went directly to 505 Games. We imagine this is for the exclusivity.
Wow.
That's a lot of money.
Wow. I mean, at least it played well on PC, but wow.
Yeah, it seems like Epic is serious about these exclusives that they're dropping crazy cash.
I would like to be like, oh, they're going to blow through all their money trying to get exclusives in the beginning, and then at least it'll phase out and we won't have to deal with this for very long. But no, those motherfuckers make $300 million a month from Fortnite. They do not care.
Yeah, they're not going to run out of money anytime soon.
They have deep pockets.
They do. Speaking of deep pockets, Borderlands 3 has sold 5 million copies in the first 5 days, making it 2K's fastest selling title ever.
And it runs like garbage.
I'm having fun with it.
I haven't got to start it yet because there was an update I noticed right before we went live that I have an update for it, but the group that I'm supposed to be playing at co-op with, we all collectively decided to wait until it was patched because I'm on a 1S. And it already runs like shit on an X, so let's not push my luck any.
Yeah, that's a smart idea.
There were people having issues with like straight up breaking consoles and stuff, so
really?
It was a little on the testy side for some folks. So I'm looking forward to playing it. I'm just stuck in limbo waiting.
Yeah, every time I play it, one of my friends like near immediately is like, hey, do you want to play together? So I haven't actually had any time to solo the game. Yeah. Because every time I want to play it, I end up in a multiplayer game, which works for me. I don't play multiplayer much, so it's nice to have someone to talk with. Yeah.
It's also better to take on some of the bosses with a friend. Like, they are incredibly difficult. The game, even just from watching it, you can tell that it's very heavily built for a group. And so some of the bosses solo is just, no matter how well you're built or how leveled you are, they're still going to fuck your ass up.
Yeah, it feels like that's how it was in Borderlands 2 as well, where Borderlands 1, it felt fairly soloable.
Yeah. I've actually not played any other Borderlands game. I know the story from watching it be played, but...
Awesome Prime saying I don't like talking in party chat. I actually don't mind talking in party chat. It's just when I'm playing Rock Band.
Yeah.
Because I play the audio through the TV, so it would pick up on the microphone.
Mm-hmm. Terrible bad.
So I can't really chat and play at the same... Plus, I'm terrible at talking and playing Rock Band at the same time. I just can't do it. I need to concentrate on the notes.
I don't know how anybody does anything and play Rock Band at the same time.
Oh, Lord. Civilization 6 is coming to Xbox and PlayStation in November, so Civ fans are excited.
I have never played those, which is odd because it's definitely a game that's up my alley.
This is another situation where PlayStation is getting more because they are getting 2 DLC packs included for free with their purchase.
Xbox
while they will be sold separate. They will be sold separately.
What?
Yeah, I'm not as mad about that as I am with Spec Ops, and I don't even play Call of Duty. It's, the DLC is still available to purchase if you want it, and it's just DLC. Yeah. Wonderful
No,
conversation.
I'm mad about it because, I was trying to decide, am I mad about this or am I not? But I remember when Ghost Warrior Sniper 3 came out, and it did the same thing where the season pass was free.
Yeah,
and Xbox had to pay an additional $60 for it, and I was not cool
20.
with that. No, it was $60 originally.
Really? I don't remember the season pass being that much.
I'm pretty sure. I'm about 92% sure. So there's a little wiggle room for error. But I am pretty sure that it was $60. And then they hollered. People bitched about it, and then they were like, okay, well, we'll drop it. And then they were just like, never mind, here it is free. But yeah, that was bullshit. I'm not a fan of it.
This exclusive stuff, it needs to stop. I don't think this one's nearly as bad, but it still needs to stop.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's as bad as completely leaving out a chunk of the base game, but it's still a horrible idea.
Yeah. xCloud signups are open now, if you are interested in that.
You do have to have the mobile requirements, though. And I was a little bummed because one of the selling points of xCloud is that you can play on PC as well. And I was like, yes. And then, because my PC is shit, we could go over this every now and then, but doesn't play things spectacularly. But if I could use the Xbox to do all the heavy lifting for my crummy PC, I'm down. But unfortunately, for the private beta, it is only for mobile.
And not only is it only for mobile, it is only for Android.
Yes.
Which makes me very sad because I'm an iPhone user and I really wanted to try xCloud.
Yeah.
They announced only 4 games available at the start of it, with Sea of Thieves, Killer Instinct, Halo 5, and Gears 5, but I'm sure more will be added to that as time progresses and we get closer to full release. I'm interested, but...
Yeah, like I said, my biggest draw for it is that, I want to be able to play... I want to play my entire Xbox library on my PC. If my Xbox is busy... I want to just, because we are, even with having multiple Xboxes, the whole limit of only being able to share your games on 2 of them means that, if number 1 is on hers and D is on mine, I'm sitting here shit out of luck. And yeah, there's Play Anywhere and it helps if my computer can run it.
Yeah.
But, 98% of the time it can't. So I would like to be able to, I don't know, play my Sims 4 DLC that I got stupid cheap on my Xbox.
Oh, Lord.
But on my PC while my Xbox is busy. Because I do that with the game streaming to the Xbox app to an extent.
Yeah, but you can't do that while someone is already using the Xbox. Right.
If the Xbox is already being controlled by somebody else, again, I'm just shit out of luck sitting here.
Yeah. Oh, well. Some more news. Have you heard the kerfuffle with Frogwares and Focus Home Interactive?
Whoa, is that a kerfuffle?
Focus Home Interactive, they're the makers of games like the Sherlock Holmes series and The Sinking City. They're the publishers. No, Frogwares is the developer.
You said Focus Home.
Oh, Focus is the publisher, yeah.
Yes.
Frogwares is the developer of Sherlock and Sinking City. Big Ben published The Sinking City, but Focus Home did it for all of the Sherlock Holmes games, and they're all being pulled from storefronts, including Xbox, PlayStation, Steam. I'll just read what the statement from Frogware says. They say, why? Because Focus Home Interactive, the licensee that was in charge of commercializing these games on these platforms, refuses to transfer the IDs to us, the creators and IP owners of these titles, even though our publishing and distribution agreement has ended. Because according to their official statement sent to us only last week, quote, Focus has put in place a policy in accordance with which they will not transfer any title, the content ID or title ID belonging to any developer which has removed all of their games from the Focus catalog. So it seems like because Frogwares had a breakup with Focus Home, Focus is just removing all of their games from sale.
Yeah, that's not good at all.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot you can say about it beyond, wow, that's bad. That's fucked.
Yeah.
It seems, it kind of sounds like from Frogware's letter that they put out, their release, that Focus Home, knew they were going to do this in advance too, and didn't tell them. And that's particularly shitty.
There's just a lot of shitty things happening in gaming lately.
Unfortunately, look, we need more regulation.
Yeah. Speaking of shitty things, Mario Kart Tour released to iOS and Android this week, and it has proven itself to be very unpopular so far. Have you heard any of the issues with it?
No, can I just say that you totally caught me off guard by saying, speaking of shitty, and then dove into something Mario related?
No.
And I had to do a double take, and I wasn't sure I was hearing things properly. I'm like, that is an unexpected segue there. Are you just doing that for attention? What happened here?
No, there's a lot of people are pissed off about Mario Kart Tour. Not only does it have a $4.99 subscription model to it,
ew,
which in a mobile game is gross enough to begin with.
Extra ew.
But they have gacha mechanics as well, which is basically like loot boxes.
No.
Yeah, so subscription and gacha mechanics together in one game.
You can't see my face, but it's not a good face.
And for a Mario Kart game, there's no multiplayer.
What?
Yeah, there's no online multiplayer at all.
So I just want to dangle this in front of the noses of people who are like, Nintendo does no wrong.
This is definitely a big no-no on their part. It is...
Delist it now.
Yeah, it's not that good. I need to play more of it, but I'm not a fan of what I played so far. And the even worse thing is the 200cc mode, like the fastest mode they have, is locked behind the subscription.
Really?
So part of the game is locked behind a subscription. Part of the fucking game.
Ooh.
Yeah.
They're not doing particularly well in the mobile segment.
Nah.
Like, I give them credit for making games for mobile, but they really fuck them up. Like, I was super excited for the Dr. Mario mobile game, and like as soon as it was available, I downloaded it immediately, and I spent like 5 hours sitting here that day, pew 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 playing, and I was so happy. And then I got to like, I started running out of lives, and I was like, God damn it, this is just inverted Candy Crush. I was not amused.
No.
And I haven't played it since. Steve is always like, you can play your Dr. Mario game, because it's on his phone, because mine couldn't do it. and I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
It's fine. And that sucks. I was so excited. Like, if you told me that they were making a legit remake of Dr. Mario on a Switch, I'd be putting D's ass on the street corner already. Like, he'd have been there before you were done with the sentence.
Yeah.
But they had all of the tools right there, and they fucked it up.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
More bad news. Since we're talking about bad news, It'll Do 2 has been delisted from the Microsoft Store and other digital storefronts, with the developer blaming the publisher, Nicholas.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I played It'll Do 2, actually.
I loved It'll Do 2.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that game, and I'm still hoping the first one comes to Xbox, because it just released recently on Switch, fingers crossed. But here's the quote from the developer, who said, can definitely confirm that Nicholas is a piece of shit publisher after being surprised to find out by looking in their email inbox that we canceled their license to publish 6 months ago. They first agreed to transfer the games over to us. Well, after the usual ghosting for a few weeks, I wake up today to find that they just couldn't be bothered and just delisted It'll Do 2 from all console storefronts. Another promise to us that they straight up broke in a shit move for the customers. Now I'm going to see if I could get them delisted or if I have to republish.
Wow.
So it's a bummer what's going on with Nicholas. They were awesome to us when we first started the show. We got to cover some of their games. They sent me a fucking Christmas card, and then out of nowhere, they just changed. I don't know if new management took over or what the hell's going on, but they're not the same Nicholas that they were 2 years ago.
No. I hope that's not an indication of what's going to come with other Nicholas games. I'm torn because, like, I don't want to support them after seeing all the bullshit they were responsible for. But, I mean, I don't want to see the developers hurt either.
Yeah.
It's not their fault that Nicholas was bags of dicks.
No.
I mean, Binding of Isaac and, It'll Do as well, but they've got a healthy library of games, and that's a lot of developers to fuck over. If I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what all games Nicholas has published. They published 1001 Spikes, Full Mojo Rampage, It'll Do 2, Remy Lore, and The Binding of Isaac Rebirth, which we've never gotten any of the updates to Isaac. So
they've been
in limbo on Xbox for years now.
The creator of Binding of Isaac has said like they've been trying to get the updates pushed, and he's never outright said, "Oh, Nicholas keeps ghosting us" or whatever. But would you be surprised?
No.
So, I mean, all things considered, like he could tell you that the guys at Nicholas took out a copy of Binding of Isaac and shit on it on their desk, and you'd be like, yeah, that sounds about right. I believe you.
Yeah, sounds about right.
No.
Enough bad news. Let's talk about some good stuff. The last bit of news I have is all related to Xbox Game Pass. A bunch of games were announced as coming. No dates have been revealed, but just the fact that these games are coming is exciting. Minute, the Red Strings Club, and the Talos Principle, all from Devolver, are going to be coming to Game Pass.
Nice.
Vambrace. Go ahead.
Maybe we'll start to see a little more Xbox love from Devolver Digital.
I hope so, because there's a lot of games that they've released that aren't on Xbox.
Oh, and My Friend Pedro, so bad.
I want the Hotline Miami games.
Are those are Devolver Digital, aren't they?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Vambrace, Cold Soul, and State of Mind are both coming to Game Pass.
Surprised to see Vambrace in there already.
I know.
Yeah.
It's quick turnaround. Dead by Daylight and Descenders are coming to Game Pass PC.
Nice.
Yeah. And then they announced 3 games are going to be debuting directly to Game Pass, with Genesis Noir, Lonely Mountain, and Demon's Tilt. I'm
looking forward to Demon's Tilt.
Yeah, people might remember we had an interview with Adam from the company a couple of months, maybe a year or two ago. I don't remember how far back it was, but that was a fun chat. I've been chatting with him, hopefully going to get him back on. It's cool to see Demon's Tilt coming to Xbox. It's even better to see it part of Game Pass. Yeah.
Carnage said Ukulele, City Skylines, and Escapist 2. City Skylines has been in Game Pass, but it also it comes and goes. It comes in for a couple months, it leaves for a month or two.
I think the City Skylines thing was it coming to PC Game Pass. Might be. I remember.
I'm not sure. Ukulele, I'm not sure if it's PC or console.
I don't know. It could be both.
Yeah. Yeah. Game Pass is good.
It is very good. But yeah, that's the news I have. Anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, Root Beer, I think it was Root Beer as my jam mentioned it, but I was going to bring it up too. Steam was sued in France for anti-consumerist behavior, and they were ruled against, and it was determined that they have to let you be able to sell your digital library. You have to be able to resell it.
Huh.
And on top of that, if you have money in your Steam wallet and you close your account, they have to refund that money to you. And there's one other thing. Now I can't remember. What was it? Shoot. I don't remember, but I do remember that basically the court said they had 30 days to get their shit straight, and then they were going to start fining them $3,000 a day for up to 6 months.
Jeez.
So they really needed to get their shit together and get it together quickly. I'm sure they're going to appeal. I don't know how that works in France, but I don't know how I feel about being required to be able to resell digital games. I think when you buy a digital game, you're buying the license, and that's that. You can't just resell it.
Yeah.
But I do think it's good that they're requiring them to refund your money if you have money in your Steam wallet.
Yeah, that's cool.
That is something that just seems like it should be a given. What do I know though? But if I gave you my money to hold and then I didn't spend it, you got to give it back to me. But yeah, the big thing for me though, as far as the fine goes, I don't know that I think it's severe enough.
No. Do you really think $600,000 is gonna upset Valve? True.
Okay, because that's what $3,000 a day for 6 months averages out to.
Awesome crime. It's my money and I need it now.
I mean, for fuck's sake.
Call J.G. Wentworth.
But I don't know that it's a strict enough fine to really make them think twice about it. I'm curious about the implications that it will have. Obviously, Steam is not the only digital retailer of games. So how is that going to affect the Xbox marketplace? How is that going to affect, PlayStation's online
and
Switch, the
Epic
Nintendo
Store.
eShop. That's gonna ripple its way out to everybody else. So on one hand, you want to be like, well, that's what you fuckers get for having a monopoly for so long. On the other hand, it's like, oh, that could have some serious lasting impact.
Yeah.
Especially, I'm not sure I like it as far as indie games go. Oh, that was the other thing. They're being held responsible for the content on their system, which is something Steam fucking needed their ass kicked for in the first place. Steam has really shitty policies of like, well, you can put anything on our system and we're not going to call it because who are we to decide what's a game and what's not? It's like, well, you're a game marketplace. So it is your place to decide. But basically, the courts in France have said, that active shooter game, yeah, you guys are responsible for that now.
That's interesting. That is very interesting.
So that's another one that, can have some ripple effect out there for everybody else that sells games.
It's going to be an interesting few months for gaming, that's for sure.
Yeah. I'm curious to see. I'm curious if they can appeal it. I don't know how, like I said, I don't know how French courts work. I'm assuming they're not too far off from ours. But I'm curious if they'll be able to appeal it or get the judgment revised in some way. And if that judgment is going to, there's no way possible that a judgment like that can be passed down on Steam and not affect every other marketplace as well.
Yeah, Root Beer is my jam saying, what about other digital content like music, books, and movies? Right.
There's so much potential. Even app marketplaces and Amazon could be affected by that kind of ruling. It'll be curious to see what they do about it.
I will say, if I get the ability to resell my digital Xbox games, I'm going to have a fucking fire sale.
And you'd still come out rich as hell from it.
I'd probably only ever be able to use that money for more Xbox games, but hey, works for me.
That's another thing too that I wondered about it, because what about people who didn't actively pay for the game?
Yeah. I guess you wouldn't get anything. Well, no, that would be for refunding, but reselling. Yeah,
if you can resell it to somebody else, even though you didn't pay for it.
Maybe things activated via code can't be resold.
I would think they'd have to let them do something like that, because that's the risk of review games and promotional material
codes being given away and resold is
we already deal with that as it is being a problem in the community, so I can't imagine how bad it would be.
Yeah, that would be insane.
Yeah.
But, you ready to get to reviews?
Sure. Let's do it.
All right, we got 5 games to talk about tonight. The first one is Contra Rogue Core, developed and published by Konami Digital Entertainment, released September 24th on Xbox One, Switch, and PS4 for $39.99. Contra is back 2 years after the Alien Wars ended. The damned city erupts from the final battleground. From the midst of the chaos, a group of scoundrels emerge. They might not be typical heroes, but they're here to save the world or get rich trying. Cole, tell us about Contra Rogue Core.
So, you would think it would be pretty hard to fuck up Twin Stick. They found some ways to throw Contra to the wolves, so. It's not the 2D run and gun that you would expect. I think the best way I could describe it would be like a 2.5D. It's kind of 3D, but you're so on rails and limited to where you can go that you can't freely explore the world. You just have to walk it the way it tells you to go. Which has its drawbacks. It has its benefit because at least you're never fucking lost. And I can get on board for that. I don't mind linear games.
Yeah.
But when it gives you this quasi 3D environment and then it's like you have no camera control and you're trying to have a combat in that environment, but you don't get to decide where your camera's at, so you can't always see where things are. There's a whole lot of just like standing back and spamming your shooting button and hoping for the best. And that's not exactly how you want to play a twin stick. The whole idea of a twin stick is you have the ability to rotate around and look around. I think the game would have benefited greatly if it was top down. If they were going to break out of that side scrolling of setup, then they should have at least just gone top down with it. Then they could have kept the more linear layout for each level, but given you the freedom to actually, move around in the space rather than like trying to just make yourself fit in the camera angle regardless of where the enemies are. On the plus side, as far as the campaign goes, you have 4 different characters that you can choose from. They have all kinds of different weapons and weapon upgrades, and there's modules that you can add, and you can swap around how you're playing. One thing that I thought was particularly amusing is that you can also upgrade your character by buying organs or other body parts on the black market and then having them surgically implanted into your character. And if you don't pay out the ass to do it, there's a really good chance that it's going to fuck up. And then you lose that expensive ass organ. Because everybody knows if you're going to go the RPG route, then of course you want to cough up your money for the best equipment. And brains and eyeballs are no different. And just take my word for it. If you pay for the better equipment, maybe also pay for the better surgeon.
Oh God.
I like that it could fuck up though. It was a learning lesson. Like I got comfortable in it because with low level shit I was like, I think it's just a joke that it'll fuck up. It's not. It's not. Like when the doctor comes up and tells you he thinks he remembers how to do the surgery, take his word for it.
Oh, jeez.
He knows what he's talking about. Back out. Go buy the other one. So yeah, you can upgrade your character. You can make changes to them. You literally buy organs on the black market. I thought it was really humorous. The campaign can be played couch co-op. God damn.
Words.
Couch co-op. And there was one element to that kind of it got under my skin because even when you're playing it single player, because it's designed for that co-op functionality, you can't actually pause. There's a gateway from the level itself until you go into a boss. And when you're in that gateway, as long as you don't open that door for the boss, then you can pause there for a second. But prior to that, you cannot pause. It will keep running and you will die. So if you like have to answer the phone or go pee or have an emergency, just go ahead and back out.
Yeah.
That's a little nitpicky. That's a personal preference thing. Like
I can get where they're going with the always online game and always living game.
I can get it. I just personally don't like it. Like if I'm playing single player by myself, let me pause. Especially because if I'm playing a campaign of a game, typically like if I'm playing it single player, it's because I need to be able to stop and I'm used to just being able to hit the pause button when I'm playing alone. So that's my hitch. Other people might not be as bothered by it, but damn it, I got kids. Sometimes I gotta go feed people in the middle of a campaign. I had a lot of fun with it though. And as bad as the camera angles were and as frustrating as they could be at times, I still really enjoyed it. But sometimes you would be in an area and the camera would be so awkwardly placed that you couldn't figure out how you were supposed to leave it.
I didn't run into that at all while playing. The only real big gripe I had with the game was I wasn't a fan of the guns overheating. Yeah.
So I'm not particularly miffed about it because I tend to be one of those people who like runs a gun out until it needs reloaded, swaps to another one. So like I would overheat, swap, and then by the time I had overheated the second one, I could swap back to the first again.
Yeah. I'm just coming like from someone who grew up playing Contra. Yeah. I used to just play those games holding the shoot button down the entire time and jumping as needed.
Oh, see, now I never played the old, or if I did, I don't remember them. That's probably more accurate. I probably played them and don't outright remember them.
Well, then you need to pick up the Contra Anniversary Collection, also available on Xbox One, Switch, and PS4. Oh, jeez. Visit our Patreon for more details.
God damn it. So yeah, I was able to adjust to it. It didn't particularly bother me too bad. The moves, like when you can do the special moves though, with the bombs and stuff, those were so cool. And I got absolutely tickled. I love the element of like when you would blow up a whole bunch of enemies and then like one would hit the screen.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I would sit and giggle every time. And he was like, what is wrong with you? I was like, you don't understand. The enemies are splatting me in the face. And it was so humorous. Like, I say humorous. It was morbid. But I have a morbid sense of humor. And so I would be tickled. Like there's one where you have to pick a guy up and literally throw him into a chipper. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yes.
That is my jam.
I want all the gore. The bosses are an interesting conundrum because I didn't think that they were particularly difficult. I will be honest though, I played on Super Pussy Crybaby mode, and I'm not ashamed of that. And I'm thankful that they had it. Like I fully did not expect there to be an easy mode in Contra. I was expecting to go in and be like, sucks to be you.
Yeah.
And I was going to die a lot and it was going to be horrible. But it was incredibly forgiving. And the mode that I was playing on, if my health bar went kaput, then I laid on the ground for a few seconds and then ta-da, I'm back without any consequences. So it made it far more viable for somebody like me to be completely oblivious to how to play and like going in and going, it's whatever, I can make it work. If I die, I die. No big deal.
Yeah.
It also meant that I was horribly reckless. And I'd be like, oh, look, barrels. I'm going to stand in the middle of them and launch a rocket.
You're smart.
Because what's the fucking matter? I'm going to come right back anyway. Well, it became a task to see how many enemies I could annihilate at once without any consequence. Oh, there's a swarm coming. Let me stand right here.
Carnage saying, enjoy your B ranks, Eternal.
Yeah, no, I actually got A in every mission I played. I didn't get S because I would die too damn much, clearly, but I was getting A's. So I was okay with that. Get better, Carnage. If you're getting B ranks, fuck you. Get on my level.
Carnage, I got every S mission achievement every mission so far and more than one achievement.
You know what? I don't have a single achievement. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't know if they're glitched or if I just suck that bad. I mean, I've got A's in every mission, but nothing has popped. And I'm like, well, okay. It's incredibly... There's one for... No, I'm past level 5, so I don't know what the deal is. I don't know.
Maybe it popped and you just didn't notice it.
I have had a problem for like about 2 or 3 years now where games just don't always pop. Or they'll pop and it'll be like 6 months later.
It's always good.
And I'm not even playing the game, and then it'll just randomly pop up and be like, bloop, bloop. You unlocked an achievement for what's something I played 6 months ago. I don't know, like Plague Inc. Evolved. I'm like, oh, look at you. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is one that I still have achievements popping in, and I haven't played it in like a year and a half, 2 years.
Oh my God.
And it just every now and then randomly pops up. I'm like, well, thanks for recognizing I completed that game. Or I didn't complete it. I beat the story at least. And I was like, thanks for recognizing I did that forever ago. So I don't know what the deal is. It may just be that Shiz told me once to like delete my account and reinstall it. And I'm like, no, thanks. It's too much effort. I'll just let them pop whenever they do.
Whenever they show up is fine. Yeah.
Sometimes it's like some of the easy completions, like the Ratalaika ones, and I'm sitting there going, well, maybe one day it'll actually tell me I completed it. It's always like rolling the dice. Is the achievement going to pop? Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, well, Contra is not a Ratalaika game, so for $40 on Contra Road Core, what do you think of it?
I give it a pretty solid try. It's fun. There's a lot to it. I didn't even get to touch the multiplayer. I sat and tried, but as the nature of this is, I play at dumbass hours, and that's my fault.
Yeah.
And there's not always people around.
We're going to have to play this weekend sometime, because I'm having a lot of fun with the game, and I am looking forward to playing a lot more of it.
I at least want to finish all of the campaign, at the least, because I did enjoy it. I couldn't tell you shit what was happening in this story. I was just getting tickled by all the slaughter and was... I'm not even worried about what the actual components of the story are. I just want to see all the gore and have people fly up on my screen.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, you take your happy where you can with games.
Yeah. Shifting gears dramatically, the next game to talk about is called Cat Quest 2. Developed by the Gentlebros, published by PQube, it released September 24th on Steam for $14.99, coming later this year to Xbox One, Switch, and PS4 as well. Following the success of the acclaimed Cat Quest developers, the Gentlebros returned to the world of Felingard to expand on the original with more explosive spells, expanded weapon options, an exciting new character, switch mechanic, and local co-op. Cole, tell us about Cat Quest 2.
I did not expect this game to be what it is. I've never played Cat Quest, so I didn't know what I was getting myself into. You hear games described all the time as being like Legend of Zelda-ish, like the old school Legend of Zelda, where you have the overworld and you're like going around to the dungeons and shit like that. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But none of them have ever, when I sit down and play them, made me go, holy shit, this feels like Zelda. And yet, for some reason, Cat Quest 2 does. So you play as a cat and a dog. Spoiler alert. The other one's a dog.
Doggy.
But here's the thing. They're twins. They are twin kings, but they are meant to rule over 2 different empires. So they're meant to rule over Felingard and the Lupus Empire. Get it? Cats and dogs.
Yeah.
Cats live in Felingard. dogs live in lupus.
Yeah, I see where they're going with that.
So naturally, the whole concept is twin kings, one a cat, one a dog. They're meant to bring unity to it all. But evil rulers have taken over the two different empires. So it's basically up to you to take them around on their little quest, go collect king shards so that you can create the ultimate sword in typical RPG game fashion, and take out the evil bad guys and take over your kingdoms and bring peace and harmony back to the world. The art style is incredibly adorable. I absolutely loved the painterly appearance to everything. Like I said, it does very much remind you of like a Legend of Zelda game, because you have the overworld. There are the enemies roaming around that you can pick a fight with in the overworld. And then there are the different little dungeons that you can access. You'll run into other NPCs. Sometimes they have quests for you. Sometimes they'll send you on little, just like, go collect some stupid shit. Like go collect one had me collecting cat hairballs, and then I come back with that. And they were like, okay, now we need dog hairballs. And you're like, well, how am I supposed to get dog hairballs when I'm in Feelingrad? And it's like, oh shit. Not everything is as it may seem.
Oh boy.
It's such an odd little concept, but they've put so much love and care into crafting this world that it feels legitimate. And also, this needs to come to Xbox so Carnage can play it, because puns.
No, how many?
Literally everything the cats say, everything the dogs say, it is all around puns.
Carnage just says yes.
Like, literally, if they say perfect, it's perfect. Or if they say, what was the one? It was like, it was meandering or something, and it used mew instead. And like everything was meow and woof, and I'm just like, I couldn't decide if I loved it or hated it for it. They were so dedicated to the cause that you have to admire it, but every time you're just like, that was creative. Maybe it was because they were creative puns. I could be more forgiving. They weren't Carnage level. Maybe Carnage would learn something from them. I will say, I did feel like equipment-wise, I was constantly fighting against the game. My level would be 12, 13, 14, 15, and my equipment would be like level 4.
Wow.
You can pay to upgrade it, and I was constantly broke because I was constantly upgrading my gear. I was constantly finding new gear, and yet I still always felt like I was just a little behind. For the most part, it was manageable. I would just have to be careful approaching enemies and like try to get a glimpse of their level before I approached and fought them. And if they were too much, I'd try to get the fuck away. Thankfully, all of the dungeons are labeled what level you should be before you go in. But there are monsters in the open world, like I said, and sometimes like it's very easy to be in one area where the monsters are like level 7, and then you walk 2 steps to the right and you're in an area where there are enemies that are like level 30. And they're like, well, fuck you. That's problematic.
Yeah.
It would be nice if there was a little more balance, because you are supposed to, explore and roam and find things in addition to just doing the quests. There's all kinds of different treasure chests, and some are locked up by gold keys, and you need to go and find those. So it's meant for you to explore, but sometimes it's a little punishing if you do.
No.
That said, go for it.
I was going to say, as it stands, $15. What do you say about Cat Quest 2?
It's absolutely worth it. I spent hours playing, and then I shut it down, and Steam is like, you have played so many minutes, and I sit there and like, how? I literally lost time because I was just enjoying myself with it so much.
Nice. Yeah, I really enjoyed the first game. I am thrilled that the second one is coming to Xbox.
Oh, it is. It is. Yay. I'm so excited.
Coming later this year to Xbox, Switch, and PS4. I did say that if you would pay attention to me.
I don't pay attention to you.
Me neither. But speaking of cats, the next game to talk about is a preview of the game Cat Lady, developed by Rose City Games, published by Viz Media, coming soon to Steam. What a catastrophe. Grandma's mansion has been cursed. Allie must team up with Granny's many cats who have gained magical abilities to pound and paw perilous poltergeists in the newly haunted abode, explore enchanted areas, rescue cats, and upgrade your kitty companions to save the day. Cole, is this game the cat's meow?
Ugh. Absolutely. I adored this game. Cat Lady is a twin stick roguelite. You are tasked with finding your grandmother initially. We did do a preview, so I didn't have the full game at my disposal, but not that I could have beat it in the first place, but you're tasked with finding your grandmother initially. She's in the basement, and the more you explore around, the more you realize that her Joe-sized collection of cats have become possessed, and they can now communicate with you. You can use them in different ways, like weapons. Some of them shoot fireballs. One of them you can throw around and he breaks shit. You have a primary and a secondary cat to use as your weapons. You will find additional cats further down in the basement as you go, and it's incredibly creative, but it's not very good at explaining what you need to do. And that is the literal only complaint I can have about this game. It does tell you, oh, you can pick up the, pick up this cat and it will do this, pick up that cat and it will do that. But it's not always very good at describing how using those actual weapons work out, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
For example, it's a lot of trial and error. Like, I come up to one area and it was like, oh, break the boxes. And I'm like, well, that seems obvious. Thanks. And then I was shooting the boxes because how do you break boxes? Shoot the motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. And I'm like, I don't get it. Why can't I
You have to hit the box with a cat? You have to, there's one cat that you can swing around and throw. Yes. You have to swing them around and throw them at the boxes. And I was like, I spent a disgusting amount of time before I realized that I couldn't just shoot the boxes. I'm sitting there looking at the boxes going, what is the answer here? At no point did it say swing the cat. And so I just didn't know. I wish it had a little bit more guidance. Beyond that, though, once I figured out what I was doing, I was so into it. I love these kind of games, Enter the Gungeon style, Binding of Isaac. This is my shit. I can get lost in a game like this for days and never find myself out of it. I will say, I love the art style. Everything is no cats were harmed in the making of the game. The art style is everything is black, and then there are occasional highlights, some white here, but each level has its own color for the line art. So, you may be on one level and everything is lined out in hot pink, and you go down to the next level and it might be cyan blue. It's so cool to look at, and it stands out. But it can also kind of drain your eyes that everything is a little neon. And that's my own fault because I was literally playing this for an obscene amount of time. I should have known better myself. I don't think most people are going to be sitting as close to their screen playing it for as long as I was, honestly. Hey, you never know.
But there is some danger of some fatigue there for your eyes if you are looking at it for a long time. Not a lot of overwhelming flashing lights or anything that was problematic. except for the bosses. They were a little more flashy, and it's definitely because of the contrast of the black, like literally everything being black, and then your outlines and stuff being colored. That's where you kind of stumbled into more. I will say though that by the time I got to a boss the first time, and I had stumbled around so damn much and died just in the process of getting there, that by the time I made it to a boss, I felt like a badass because I blew through them in the first try. And I was
nice.
Like, yes. So if you can really fumble your way through the trial and error of it, then you're going to have a good time, especially if, you're already into these kind of games anyway.
Yeah. Well, as it stands, is this a game that we should keep our eyes on?
Please do. And please bring it to Xbox because it's so good.
Awesome. I am looking forward to hearing more about this one. Hopefully we'll be able to give a full review later on.
Yes.
But go ahead.
And maybe they'll have heard me and put some more guides in there for bad gamers.
Maybe. And maybe they'll put it on Xbox.
Yay!
Fingers crossed. Come on, Viz Media, do it. And Rose City Games. We believe in you. But next game to talk about is called The Adventures of Elena Temple, developed and published by Grim Talon, released September 27th on Xbox One for $4.99. Ever miss being a child playing games at your grandma's or in your old bedroom? Then look no further. The Adventures of Elena Temple is the classic you never knew existed. And the best part is you could play it on virtual old machines that kind of, sort of, maybe existed. It's not like you can remember them for sure anyway, right?
I definitely remember playing on a Super Toy.
So tell us about The Adventures of Elena Temple.
So this is modeled after the kind of consoles that we played in the 80s, like even some as far back as the 70s. They're not real consoles.
What?
But you could believe they were, and you can definitely see what they were inspired by. It's very thinly veiled. But it's okay. I thought that was part of the game's charm. The game itself, Elena Temple, is a retro-inspired platformer. It's very simply laid out. It's kind of hard to describe because it's not like, oh, it's an isometric, like it's literally 2D platforming, pixel art, very rudimentary, and that's not a negative thing.
Yeah, like it's like a mix of action platforming and puzzle platforming. Right.
The puzzle platforming will have you ready to pull your hair out, though.
Mm-hmm.
The initial concept is just you feel like it's collect the coins, get through the rooms, and that's pretty much it for the most part. But you get to a point where it's like, okay, well, you collected the map that shows you where everything's at. Now, good luck, go finish it all. And you're like, but I don't want to. Those places were hard to get to because sometimes you're having to push a switch in one room and then it gives you an indicator that things have moved. You can hear that things have moved, but you have no fucking idea what room it moved in. Given that it's based on retro gameplay like that, the difficulty just comes from the fact that you just don't know what's going on sometimes. The additional difficulty comes in from the fact that you can only carry 2 fucking bullets.
Yeah.
Sometimes you walk into a room with 4 snakes and you have 2 bullets, and well, sucks to be you. You have to get really creative with coming up with solutions to some of the puzzles. There are 2 variations of the game, and you can choose which one you play. You can dynamically switch between the different console types, which each have their own look and feel. I preferred the Super Toy for some odd reason. I don't know why. I just kind of felt the contrast in that one was easier to deal with. Some of them are green screens. Some of them are, green and black. Some are blue and white or blue and yellow. So it really is just a matter of finding one you can tolerate looking at the most. They're all very well done, though. I think it's incredibly impressive how much detail went into creating each of the game systems, and the fact that you look like you're playing it in a room, but you can zoom in and fill your screen in with the game, or you can zoom out and it looks like you're just holding a handheld or playing on a computer or something. It was really creative and well done. The stories that were given to all of the like the whole development of this game and how it was ported for each different
I love that. That was such a nice touch.
That was the best part. Like once I realized that it was all fake, but it sounded so real. And you're like, I could believe that legitimately happened to a developer. It sounds like they were published by Nicholas.
We got to take a quick shout out to Carnage for dropping 50 bits because OBS is
dropping bits,
fucking up on us really bad. I don't know why the stream is acting up, but hopefully it's still kind of moving on my end, so we'll see what happens. But if people are having issues with the stream, I'm sorry.
Yep, I'm sorry. But, I'm not sorry.
Elena Temple being $5, what do you think of that?
I think it's a perfect price point for it. In a lot of cases with a game like this, I'd be like, oh, fuck it, why not? But I think this one is genuinely good. The games are enjoyable. I say games, like I said, it's the same game with two different variations of it. But a lot of thought was put into it. The puzzles are creative. They might have you pulling your hair out, but they're done well.
Yeah.
And it's far better than you would expect for a $5 game. That was, at times it feels like it was made just to riff on the whole process of publishing a game. And still, you're just like, I don't know why I'm enjoying this much, but I'm definitely here for it. And I think everybody, if for nothing else, it's worth the $5 just to read what they wrote about the game development process for every PC it was on.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was a great game. I thought it was really enjoyable. I love the creativity that went into all those descriptions and all the different screen styles and color schemes and everything like that. I thought it was a really solid game, especially for $5. I've
got 3 rooms left that I can't get into.
I believe in you.
I don't know that I'm ever going to get it. Like, I want to cry.
I want to cry because No Time for Games just cheered 250 biddies.
Oh, dropping bits!
Dropping bits indeed, Norg. Thank you so much. No Time, thank you very much for the biddies. Always a pleasure having your biddies drop in our cup.
I like biddies in the cup.
I know. Just watching them fall and bounce around. I love it.
It's very satisfying. It's my favorite's when they bounce out though.
Yeah.
But then you're sad because the cup doesn't look as full.
I like when a sub happens and it just drops in and the bits go flying. Those
and
are
then there's the kitties in the cup.
Kitties. But one final game to talk about tonight, that is called Rex Rocket, developed and published by Castle Pixel, released September 25th on Xbox One for $9.99. Inspired by the glorious retro days of 8-bit gaming, Rex Rocket is a traditional 2D platformer that pays tribute to the classic NES games like Mario, Mega Man, and Metroid, the holy trinity of M titles.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Son of a bitch.
No, you get to go. This is your part.
Cole, tell us about Rex Rocket.
You can tell that this game is unapologetic about what inspired it. Like, the moment you start playing it, you're like, yeah, I've seen this before. That's not a bad thing. I realize it could be taken as bad, but it's a testament to how closely they managed to build off of the source material while creating something of their own. Especially when you consider it was done by a 3-man team.
Yeah.
That's impressive. The artwork in this game is all pixel art. It's incredibly detailed. I did find that at times I would get lost because it is a 2D, platformer, run and gun type of game. I did find that sometimes I would get lost really easily because areas would look very similar. And I would just be like, did I go up here? Did I go down? How did I get here? There is an overall map, but the map is just, this is the room you're in, this is the square shape, this is where it is with regard to the rest of the ship. And so, like, if you're stuck going in a loop around a block that has constantly respawning enemies, which I'll get to in a second, you can find yourself just sitting there going, okay, but I know I'm here. How do I get out? Carnage said I get lost in 2D and 3D games. It's true. I have no sense of direction. You could put me in a wet paper bag with a flashlight and a hammer, and I'd still be crying for help.
Nice.
I just cannot get out.
Proud of you.
But like I said, this was a case of everything kind of looked the same, and you were just looking for like 1 or 2 tiny pixels that were a little different to give you a guide where to go. And it is made worse by the fact that there are areas where the enemies will just constantly respawn and respawn and respawn. The premise is that you are playing, you get to choose. Shout out to these guys. 3-man development team, and they can do what AAAs can't, and they can let you choose whether you're a boy or a girl. Way to go. You play as either Rexford or Rexanne Rocket. And and basically, you know, your job is to help escort science expeditions as they float around in space on a big giant ass ship and do what science expeditions do. In a move that is basically what you would expect from any 80s era sci-fi horror movie, the scientists have brought a mutant ooze on board, and it finds the way out of its container, and now basically literally everything that it touches is being terrorized by green goo.
Hooray!
It's literally blah, blah. It is literally every sci-fi horror movie ever. It's fine. It works. It's a premise that works, and it gives you the opportunity to run through rooms and shoot green goo and not feel bad about it. But because of the way that the game constantly spawns enemies out of like these goop containers, like, oh, there might be some slime on the floor here or some on the wall over there, and then like that there's a special word, it's like tetra ooze or something like that. But the way that it constantly spawns them out, if you stay there for like a half a second after you kill everything, it's just going to come right back.
Yeah. And
sometimes you literally have no choice but to just go, I just have to run through here and hope for the best. I will say, though, that despite the difficulty of that, they've been incredibly forgiving with checkpoints. There's fucking checkpoints everywhere. And every time you run past one, it fills your health back up.
Which is
even if you've hit it good before. You need that, because otherwise you would not be getting through some of these rooms. There were times where like I started to memorize rooms that had the never-ending goop, and it was helpful for the sake of there's achievements for like killing 10,000 or whatever. And I was like, cool, I'll just stand here and hold the fire button for fucking ever, and that's fine. But if you were actually trying to get anywhere to continue the story or to get to another boss, then you were like, I'm going to pull my hair out. I just want to go from A to B. And it was hard enough to find this room without getting stuck in it for 2 hours before I get enough balls to run across it. Boss fights were very trial and error. It's fine. It's basically what you would expect for this situation. In this kind of game, that's pretty much the gameplay that you would expect for it.
Yeah, it's about learning patterns and...
Yeah, it was frustrating and it was difficult, but I never felt it was undoable. Maybe a little unfair, because, you know, you would think you had learned the pattern. There were a couple of times where I was like, I got this, and there would literally be just the tiniest sliver of health left on the boss. And then some random ass block would fall out of the sky or something. Something stupid would happen. Like a tiny little spark would splash across the screen. And I'm like, well, here we go.
That'll teach you.
Gonna do this shit over again. but it wasn't like you couldn't not do it because there was always a checkpoint right before the boss. And we all know how much I love my checkpoints before bosses. So it was forgivable enough that, yeah, it would suck to start all over again, but at least I started right there and I didn't have to work my way through the ooze again.
Yeah.
It's the little victories because fuck all the ooze.
Well, ooze aside, $10 on Rex Rocket. What do you think of it?
I think it's a buy it. It's hard, and you can definitely tell that they're unapologetic about it. But they don't necessarily have to do anything to make it easier because they've made it available with the checkpoints and stuff that I can forgive it.
Yeah.
A lot of times I'd be like, I don't know why this is hard for the sake of being hard. But I felt as far as, difficult platformers inspired by retro games goes, this was probably one of the more accessible ones. So I had a really good time with it, and I'm looking forward to finally fucking beating it.
Carnage says it is also Play Anywhere, so
nice.
You could get it on PC as well.
Yeah.
But that is it for this episode. It's been another quote-unquote successful outing.
Depending on what you decide successful is.
Yeah. Longer than I thought it would be, considering we only had 5 games to talk about.
I know, I'm long-winded. I'm sorry.
Sometimes.
And
there was a lot of news, though.
You know what's terrible is I'm gonna sit and go through my notes later, and I'm gonna be like, "Oh, I forgot to talk about this. I forgot to talk about that," and I'll be like, "I'm really sorry. I apologize."
Burger Thing, another episode in the books of history.
Yeah,
the chronicles of time have been recorded.
History will judge us for this.
History will indeed judge us. Cole, do you have any final words to end the show?
No, I already said the cool thing, Joe.